Hi, it's Jordan Teen 1, and today I'll be showing you how to make the large circle burst charm. And this is what it looks like. It's an expanded version of the small and medium. So I'll show you. First I did the small, and this is just the center part. And then I expanded it out to do a medium version. And then this one is just expanded out another row. So for this one, I used red, white, and blue for the colors, and then I have clear bands for the outside edge that holds all of them together. And you're going to make this on the Rainbow Loom. For my smaller versions, you can do those on the monster tail, but for this one, you need the bigger loom, and you want to have it set up with the pins in a straight row. And then you want the arrows to be facing towards you so that all of the opened ends are facing you. And you're just going to be working with 2 rows on the loom. It's going to be in the shape of a rectangle. It's going to be 8 pins. And for my colors today, I've decided to use white for the center, and then I have different shades of purple for the outer layers. And then I have the darkest purple that's going to be the border bands that hold it all together. You're going to need 1 band for the very center, that's the cap band. So I've decided to use clear. And then for the rest of these, I have 18 bands of the white, 18 lavender, 18 of the medium purple, and then for the border, you're going to need 20 bands. I'm going to start by placing one of the border bands on, so it's going to be this dark purple. And I'm going to go to the 6th pin up in the center row, and the band is going to go straight across to the right. And I do want to twist this. This is the only band I'm going to need to twist. And then I'm going to take my next darker purple color, and that is going to go from the 5th pin up in the right hand row up to the 6th. And now I'm going to take my lavender color, and that's going from the 4th pin up to the 5th. It's just going below the band I just placed on. And I want this to be nice and straight. And then I'm going to take my final color, and that's just going to go below that. So it's going to be white. It's important that you put them on in this order. You have to start at the top and work your way down. If you put them on in the opposite order, it's not going to work out. Now I need to place my cap band on this last pin where I just ended. So I'm taking my clear band, and I'm just going to place it on my hook, twist, and put it back on. So you'll see the 2 bands on there. And I'm just going to put that right on the top of this pin. And now what I need to do is reach down through this cap band. So I'm just going to take the back of my hook. I'm going to push back on these 2 clear bands. I'm grabbing this bottom white band, and it's going to come up through and move ahead. And now I just want to go down through and pull up the next band and move that above. So here I have this light purple, so I'm just going to reach down through the pin, grab this purple, it's going to come up through and move above. And now once again, I'm going to reach down through, and I'm grabbing this darker purple and moving that ahead. I'm going to push these all down. And now I need to place another border band on, so they're always going to be in this same position, and it's always going to be this darkest purple or whatever color you're working with. And so now I'm going to take these bands, and I want to grab both of them at once, and I want them to come over the top and into the middle. And now for these lower ones, I'm just going to release them from the pins. And I'm going to leave the cap band on here for now. And now I also need to remove this bottom layer of the dark purple, so I'm just pulling that over the top and into the center for each of the sides. Push this down. And that's the pattern that I'm going to repeat, but I'm going to do it in the center row. So again, I need to work my way from the top down. So I'm going to do this medium purple, and now the lavender, and the white. And now what I want to do is get this cap band to move over from this pin on the right to the pin on the left. So I'm going to grab it from underneath and release it from this pin. Just going to twist my hook a little bit. I want to make sure that I'm putting it on from the inside edge here. Just going to hook it on there and slide it on. And now I'm going to get all of these bands to work my way up. I'm going to loop here. So I'm pushing back on the cap band. This white one is going to come up through. And now I'm just going to keep reaching down. I'll grab the next one. Push this down. And now I need that border band to go on. So I'm just putting this on. And now I want these other purple bands to come off. So I'm just grabbing them both at once and sliding it into the center. The next ones come off. Just leaving this cap band at the bottom. And if by chance when you're taking these off, this cap band happens to slip off, it's not that big of a deal. You would just get your hook back through and put them back on. Just make sure that both of the cap bands are on there. Pushing this all down. And then I also need to remove this dark purple from the top. So I'm doing that for both sides. When you're done each layer, you want to make sure that you're only having one layer of this border band on. And so now I'm going to move back to the right hand row. I'm working on the opposite row of where the cap band is every time. So again, I'm always working from the top and going down. And now the cap band needs to move over, so again I'm grabbing it from the bottom, twisting my hook just a little bit, and from this inside edge I'm putting the band on. And now I just need to get these to move forward. And now I need that border band. And now the purple needs to come off. I'm going to release these as well. And then finally I want this bottom dark purple band to come off of each side and push down. So you can see that it's starting to form this pattern already. I'm going to switch to this center row. And now I need this cap band to change rows here. Hopefully you can see this clear band. I hesitate to use clear bands on camera because I'm afraid that they won't show up as well, but hopefully you can see it. And now the border band. And I'll slide these off. And then finally take this border band off. It's important to remember that step. And now I'm switching to the right hand row. So as this cap band starts to get all of these other bands wrapped around it, it is going to get a little bit tougher to maneuver back and forth. So you might have to use your finger to help push the other bands that are on there back so you can get a better view of what you're doing. We're going to do this 18 times since we have 18 of each of the bands. And now this needs to come over, and I'm going to release the next ones, and then also the bottom. And as your charm grows, you can just go through this open area in between the rows of pins. It is a little bit helpful if you get it to go down in there, because it sort of keeps these other bands out of the way when you're trying to work with this cap band. And so now I'm back to the center row. And I'll switch this cap band. So really that's all there is to it. You're just doing this same pattern, but switching between the rows every time. Need to take these off. And now the bottom. And push down. So I am just going to continue on in this same pattern, and as I said, when this cap band gets full, you might have to use your one finger to sort of push up on these bands as you're moving it over, just so it's out of the way and you can see what you're doing. So I am just going to fast forward here. I just wanted to show everyone that I have just 2 layers left to do and that my cap band is getting extremely full. So I just wanted to give you a tip. As I said earlier in the video, you want to make sure that you keep these bands pulled down through this open area, so that helps you to get a clearer view of the cap band that you're working with. So I'm just going to put on my next layer here. And then also when I'm moving this cap band over, I'm just going to use my finger on the hand that I'm not working with the hook, and I'm just going to grab the cap band and keep these bands pulled down. So that way I can see what I'm doing a little bit better with the cap band here, and they're staying out of my way. And now again, I'm just going to pull these up through. I think that's probably the trickiest part, is trying to work when it gets really full. Just make sure that's nice and straight. And now the bottom layer. So I have one more layer here to do. And again, I'm just going to hold these back with my finger while I move this cap band over. And you should have 2 of your border bands left. The first one's going to go on. And I can actually remove this cap band right now. And now the bottom border band needs to come off. And so now you should have just one band left on these top two pins. And what I'm going to do is take my hook, gonna pick up the one band, leave it on my hook, and I'll pick up the other band. And now I want to make sure I keep hold of these. I'm going to pull this off. It's a little bit bent out of shape from being squished in between those rows. But now what I'm going to do is pick up the first two border bands. I have this dark purple. There should be one on either side here. So I'm just going to grab the one from the back and the one from the front. And now I'm going to take my last band and I'm just going to slide it through all four of these bands. Put the loose end back on my hook so I have the two bands on here. One side is going to slide through the other, and then I'm going to pull that really tight to make a slip knot. I want to make sure it's really tight so it doesn't come apart. And then here is my charm. So you probably will have to play around with it a little bit to adjust it, to get it to be a nice circular shape, because it was squished in there. And then here's the other one that I made at the beginning that I had shown you with the red, white, and blue. So I think the design turns out pretty awesome. It actually reminds me of a crocheted pillow that we used to have when I was a kid. So hopefully everybody else likes the design too. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook, post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on my latest tutorials. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those as well. Thanks for watching!